wormholes, particle physics, extra dimensions. Are the wonders of so-called reality really what they appear to be? Or do we exist in an elaborate hologram? Is our universe the result of random activity or the result of intelligent design? If a creator was involved, can we discover him through our perception of divine order? This is Into the Multiverse with Josh Peck.
Is America headed for another civil war? All this chaos and unrest, all this division going on in the country and in the church, where is this going to lead? That is our topic today. In studio with me, my lovely, beautiful wife, Christina Peck. How are you doing, sweetie?
I'm great, honey. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. You know, in light of all the negative things that are happening in the country, and but it is still good that, you know, we live in a time where we can do this kind of stuff. You know, television, we can voice our opinions, put it out there for other people. People who like it can disagree, or people who don't like it can disagree if they want. People who like it can agree, comment, you know, all these great things. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that take offense to that sort of thing. You know, even a disagreement is something worthy of physical violence.
Yes. Yes, there's a lot of that going on. Of course, not only on Facebook, but different things that have been happening recently around the world, around America. Yeah,
I mean, you even see that in the street, these riots and everything. And, you know, at this time at Skywatch, we've been running shows and talking with Tom Horn, Bob McGinnis, Colonel Bob McGinnis, and Carl Gallups about their new book, Saboteurs. Well, Tom's really the author of Saboteurs, and then the other two contributed, but they have books as well. The Deeper State by Colonel Bob McGinnis and Gods and Thrones by Carl Gallups. And, you know, I think that it was really genius how Tom put these three books together, because they all talk about just the civil unrest in the country right now, but also, like from Gods and Thrones by Carl Gallups, it talks about how there is a spiritual component behind all this.
And that is the main thing that's driving this, and that people need to realize. And there's a lot of, well, whenever this is airing recently, where we're with the Las Vegas shooting.
Right.
Yes.
By the time that this is airing, that'll be
long past.
But yeah, at the time we're recording, this just happened.
This is a recent thing within the past couple days. But it just goes to show that there's evil behind it. Yeah.
There's actual intelligent evil, and it's not just a euphemism or saying that, you know, some people are bad and some are good. There's an actual spiritual component behind all this, literal spiritual entities, extra-dimensional entities even, that are pulling the strings from the shadows, to use that metaphor. You know, really it's from other dimensions and things, but it's crazy. And then we see this play out with things like the Las Vegas shooting that you brought up. And both the right and the left, I mean,
two extremes.
There are extremists in both camps, but maybe I'm biased because I'm on the right.
I'm on the right too.
It seems like the extremists on the right are just kind of idiotic. No one pays any attention to them, like the neo-Nazis and you know, the small group of.
It's amazing that they call us neo-Nazis.
Well, you know, some on the left might call us that, but the actual extremists, the actual racists.
The actual ones.
You know, there's not many of them, and they're just, nobody takes them seriously.
They're this small group with a louder voice on the right. Yeah. Just like on the liberal side,
exactly,
they have a stronger voice, and they're the minority when it comes to like the third wave feminism and the things that I can't stand about them.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, and you have groups like Antifa who want to go into the street with guns and
literally want to you know, they want to they say that they're anti-fascists and they want peace, but then they don't do it in a peaceful way. They actually go out and cause harm and want to kill people.
Exactly. And of course, not all liberals are like that. Not everybody on the left is like that. But to me, and I know that neo-Nazis and those type of people have incited violence before in the past too. But to me, I see And again, it could just be my own bias. And honestly, I wouldn't even count neo-Nazis and stuff as being right. You know, I don't identify with any of that.
No, me either. They're just an extreme group all their own.
Yeah, and you know, to be fair, it's probably the same with the left and really extremist, violent groups like Antifa.
I have friends who are Democrat, and they agree with a lot of things that I agree with, and there are just some things that they disagree with when it comes to, well, you know, working for what you want, capitalism. I'm huge on, you know, working for what you want to become in life. You work hard, it will pay off. Some of my friends are like, well, I just want stuff given to me. Okay, come on, grow up, be an adult. You know, I love my Democratic friends, but that's where we differ.
Yeah, well, and that brings up a good point too, is this whole, so I mean, the big question that we're asking is could all of this division lead to another civil war? And yeah, it could. I mean, it depends on how bad it gets and in what span of time, but something like that could happen. And there's a lot of different ways it could play out. I think one of the big ones is the gun control issue, which we can talk about. But you brought up a good point that I want to touch on, is capitalism versus socialism. And you know, many on the left tend to be more on they not all of them, but many of them appreciate.
They like the idea of things being given to them.
Yeah, well, well, and because they've heard people say, you know, socialism is a brilliant idea, or communism is a brilliant idea if only it worked. And no, it's not. It's an evil, horrible idea. There's nothing good in it. It's morally wrong, even.
It is. I mean, I look at Auschwitz. You know, look at what Hitler did. You know, he wasn't a right wing. He was a extreme nutcase. Yeah. And he wanted to eliminate the Jewish people. And I've had family over in Germany during that time. Who, you know, not direct well, yes and no direct family, cousins in Auschwitz, right? Distant, you know, and distant past there. But it's when people want to bring up neo-Nazi, if you're on the right, they just want to brand you that name. I was like, you know what? As somebody with that heritage who's had family over there. That kind of angers me even more. Well,
they'll even say that kind of stuff about Ben Shapiro, who's Jewish, yeah, and they'll call him stuff like that too, which is, you know, I mean, love him or hate him, he's not, you know, love him or hate him, he's not a racist, and he's not, you know, he's not an anti-Semite or anything.
No, he's not.
But yeah, and that seems to be one of the most fundamental differences between the left and the right. Is it seems like many, and obviously not all, and I don't want to preface everything that I say with many, not all, because somebody on the left might get upset. But no, many of the stronger arguments on the left come from feelings. You know, like it doesn't feel right, it feels wrong, like I don't think you should be saying that because it hurts my feelings, or I'm offended that you're saying whereas on the right it seems like we value facts over feelings. And it's not that we're not it's not that we don't have feeling, it's not that we're, you know, just not sympathetic. We're sympathetic, but it's just feelings are subjective. You know, anybody can feel anything about anything.
Yeah, I know.
There are things that we all can generally agree on, like the Las Vegas shooting was horrible, and that's, you know, that was a terrible thing that happened. And but there are those on the left who will take something like that, run with their feelings on it, and say, well, we need gun control. You know, we need stricter gun control. And I don't think that's. They
already broke so many laws anyway. What's a couple more to break?
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly.
If they want something, they're gonna get it.
Yeah,
illegally.
Exactly. So why in a sense, why be more strict to the law-abiding citizens because of what criminals choose to do? You know, that's not.
And when you say, well, this person had no criminal history. Well, not yet.
Well, and you know, by the time this airs, probably more information has come out on that, because this is, we're airing this like a month after we're recording it. But yeah, but then on the right it said, okay, well, there are examples that we could look at where there are really strict gun control laws, like Australia and parts of Europe, and it doesn't make statistical sense to follow in that direction, because it didn't stop or even greatly reduce violent crimes. And I want to be careful how I word these things because I don't have the statistics right in front of me.
Right.
But there are really good reasons why gun control isn't the issue. And actually, when you have looser gun regulation, well, for example, here in America, Chicago has some of the strictest gun laws in the country, yet they have
the worst shootings.
Yeah.
The worst crime rate.
So that's not the solution. What we need is to have more law-abiding citizens armed up, who have gone through the classes, who have gone through everything that you need to go through.
You and I have gone through those.
To responsibly own a gun. So that way they can stop something if something happens. Well, we're going to talk more about this. We want to let you know how you can get a hold of, well, really just a whole bunch of materials. But Tom Horn's written a new book, as you're probably now well aware, Saboteurs. It's a fantastic book. I think it's extremely needed in our time right now, so we want to let you know how you can get a hold of that. Stick with us right after this.
The Trump administration is now vowing to crack down and punish deep state saboteurs.
Today, America is being manipulated through a Washington-based shadow government.
This is a war now, the deep state against you and the President of the United States.
The artificial chaos engineered by elites and advanced by enemies of democracy is being propagandized by a devoted media machine to take down President Trump.
I submit to you that the establishment that you talk about, the so-called deep state, exists on both sides, the left and the right, and President Trump is up against both of them.
But this is not the whole story. A much more sinister quest behind the deep state is at work to usher in a final world order.
He's an outsider. He's not them. He's not part of the club. You know, he hasn't been through the initiation rites. He didn't belong to the secret society. He didn't belong to the secret society. The secret society.
They're trying to cheat you out of the future and the future that you want. They're trying to cheat you out of the leadership you want.
Globalists, secret societies, and world power brokers anticipate the insidious arrival of a messianic strongman they call the Gray Champion. Now, for the first time ever, expert on occultism and best-selling author Dr. Thomas Horn joins a senior analyst from the Pentagon and a retired police detective to bring you the shocking truth behind an ancient cabal, almost too fantastic to believe.
If these forces are successful, this country will not survive.
They have a plan for your future, but you can know their secret and stop them in their tracks. Get ready, saboteurs, how secret deep state occultists are manipulating American society toward a final world order.
America is being manipulated by sinister occult forces and a Washington-based shadow government. But now, for the first time ever, expert on occultism and best-selling author Dr. Thomas Horn is joined by senior analyst from the Pentagon, Colonel Bob McGinnis, and retired police detective Carl Gallups to expose these nefarious forces. Skywatch TV is proud to announce the Saboteurs Collection. When you order the new books, Saboteurs, Gods and Thrones, and The Deeper State from Skywatch TV, you'll also receive free of charge for a limited time the exclusive oversized hardback collector editions of the classic 2-volume set, The Devils and Evil Spirits of Babylonia, and The Fallen Angels and the Heroes of Mythology. These two timeless masterpieces, finally in print again after 100 years, are the perfect gift for the scholar or Bible student in your life, and hold a retail value of over $60 all by themselves, but are included absolutely free when you purchase the limited time Saboteurs Collection. But that's not all. You'll also receive the never-before-aired DVD Off the Record, featuring exclusive interviews with Dr. Thomas Horn, Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis, and Detective Carl Gallups, further exposing the dark secrets of globalist elites and how to stop them in their tracks. This content is only available in this exclusive offer and will not be aired anywhere else. finally, you'll also receive The Shadow Hand, the over 24-hour Steve Quayle and Tom Horn definitive audio series on CD. This audio collection discloses the terrifying truth behind the infamous WikiLeaks dumps, the shadow government, and so much more. This unprecedented special offer sold separately holds a retail value of over $175. Yours now for only $29.99 plus shipping and handling. The holiday gift season is coming, and you won't find this collection anywhere else. So don't delay. Order the Saboteurs collection for somebody you love now at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985.
Welcome back to Into the Multiverse. We're talking about, could America see another civil war in the near, or well, even distant future? I mean, it would seem like, you know, if it's going to happen, it'll happen sometime, but in the near future. Something that we touched on before the break was socialism versus capitalism. I want to flesh that out a little bit more, because there might be people out there who aren't really familiar with those ideas. In socialism, it's more about the government provides pretty much everything for the people. You go to work. You know, you go to work, but everybody makes like the same base pay. You know, and then the government taxes like crazy on that. Like socialized healthcare is a big problem in Canada, because and there are people who say they want that here. Bad idea. Personally, I think all healthcare should be privatized. And this is coming from somebody. This is coming from somebody who I had to be on disability for a while, so I did have to take advantage of a program that allowed for that. But after coming out of that, I don't think it's the right way to go. Now,
no, even during it, we still had so many issues dealing with your disability.
Right.
Like 1 month when it was kind of new to us, we had just had Jacqueline, and it was, well, now you were getting paid $900 a month. Now we're going to cut it back to $400 a month. Right. And you try living on that $400 a month, and I just had a baby, and I can't do anything.
Right. And some people might ask, well, you know, Josh, you took advantage of these types of things, so how can you say that you're against it? And it's because I believe if we lived in a country where we didn't have those type of benefits and everything was privatized, more charitable things like churches and just people would step up and help in those regards, you know, and I think that's how it should be, more on like a personal basis.
I agree.
Same with healthcare, and that's the cool thing about capitalism. When you have a free market, things at first might cost a lot of money, but eventually, because of the competition, that price will get driven down and the quality will go up. And actually, a really good example that, talking about Ben Shapiro, that Ben Shapiro brought up, was LASIK eye surgery. When that first came out, because that's something that's not provided by the government, and you know, it's like a privatized deal. When that first came out, I mean, it was like tens of thousands of dollars to do it, you know, and it wasn't really that, it had problems, you know, there was room for improvement. Well, now it's affordable, it's way better, you know, it's a lot better quality of surgery, you're in and out faster, just everything about it is better because it was allowed to exist in the free market where you have competition.
Yes.
That's the same with everything.
Well, yes. And I have another example. I worked at a bank before I worked here. And it was, you had certain goals you had to meet each month. And it was up to you how much commission you were going to make. Right. And so if you were not going to reach your goals, you're not going to get any extra money. Right. So what if there's an extra bill that you need to pay? Exactly. Well, then you don't get to pay it that month because you decided not to meet your goals. Well, I had a lot of fun with it. It was a healthy competition. We all worked together as a team.
Yeah, competition's not a bad thing. It's a great thing.
It was healthy, and it's like, well, if I can get this IRA. So if somebody wants to open up an IRA account, or if they're looking to, you know, do something, I have that knowledge in my head, what I can share with them to make, you know, let them know this might be a good fit for you. Yeah. And I at least have that conversation with them. And if they decide to sign up elsewhere, my name is already attached to them. So I get a little cut of that. I get a little piece of that because I told them about it. I told them a good idea. Right. I got some really good commission working there.
The cool thing about capitalism is, even just on a moral level, I agree with it. Like, it's all about your own personal responsibility. You know, you're responsible for your own success or your own failures, and you learn from your failures, and you see what other people are doing, and you have healthy competition. And competition isn't like this bad word that like, oh, Christians shouldn't be competitive. Yeah, we should, but we should do it healthy.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have the bad type of competition where we're trying to bust somebody else down, so we can get ahead. That's not the right way. That's not the right way. What we need to do is see what other people who are succeeding more than we are, see what they're doing, and then improve on it. You know, and then they can do the same thing. You know, if, for example, this is kind of an ongoing joke for people who watch this show, but Into the Multiverse and Sci Friday. You know, you know, we jokingly have like a competition with them, but in a lot of ways, you know, I mean, we'll see what works for them. We'll use it for us if it works. They can see, and then they have the opportunity too to see what works for us. But we even do that with the normal Skywatch TV YouTube channel. You know, there's 70 at the time of this recording. There's 70 some odd thousand, about 70,000 subscribers right now, and we have about 20,000. Well, it's from learning what has worked with the Skywatch TV YouTube channel, applying that here, and then trying to improve on it.
And it's fun, and it's all going back to the ministry and for Whispering Ponies Ranch, and you know, things that's like, but it's still fun.
Well, yeah, because the more outreach we have, ultimately that's what it's all about. The more outreach we have, the more people we can help. You know, now of course there are businesses too where money is the goal, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's just how the world works today. You can't buy anything without money.
Now, of course, the love of money is the root of all evil. But
what Timothy was talking about.
Yeah, and that's where it can get into danger. If money is the only thing driving you, that's where it can get into dangerous territories of, well, it's easier to bust this person down so I can get ahead. That's where it can get into the really bad type of competition. That's immoral and unchristian.
You're just being greedy.
Right. And you know, I think sometimes people who are more socialist-minded look at the bad type of competition, and they see capitalists as like, you know, greedy and money-hungry, and it's not really like that, though. Actually, to me, what's greedy is stuff like bank bailouts, where the government comes in and bails out a bank who's...
They failed. Let them crash and burn.
Exactly, it's a business.
They failed. They had their chance.
Yeah, there shouldn't be bailouts for stuff like that. It's ridiculous. That to me is greedy. That goes against what a free market should be. That's an unfair advantage. That's a bank using the government to bust other. You know, really smaller banks should have had the opportunity to get big.
Yes, exactly. Think about it this way. Okay, your own credit. All right, you mess up. You go down the drain and your and your numbers fall. Do you think the government's just going, oh, here, have some money so you can get out of debt? No, you have to work hard to get out of debt.
That's how it should be.
And you need to. And so same thing with these companies, same things with these banks. Don't bail them out. They did to themselves. They screwed up. Have them work their way up again. If they want to succeed, they'll find a way.
Now, of course, there are people who are born into circumstances that is difficult to get out of. But again, I think that's where charitable things like churches, and, you know, that's where they can kind of step up and help.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like there should be more of that.
Yeah.
More of the teachers. Well, here, we'll put you in a situation where you can learn a trade, or you can start going to school. You know, we will help you, and then take the training wheels off. Once they're there, okay, that's great. But these people who want handouts from the government, they're stuck there. Oh, no, just stay here. We'll take care of you.
It's a system
in
which...
You have 10 kids? Well, here, let's give you all this money.
It's a system in which you have no opportunity to succeed. You can only stay where you're at or get worse. And that's what disability was. And because disability, it's not like, here's a plan that will help you, you know, achieve something. I mean, I had, as well as I believe I should have, I had to do that all myself, and I'm glad for that. I don't think that the government should step in and do that for me at all. Now, ideally, you know, I think in a perfect world, the whole disability thing wouldn't be a government-run program. It would be something privatized or something from a church or something where, because the problem with the government providing things is the more they provide, the more power we allow them, and look what they've done with that. So that kind of brings us back around full circle to, is America, you know, destined for another civil war? If we can't even have a conversation with the other side on a level playing field. You know, let's deal with facts then. If we can't find some common ground, then yeah, I think it could lead to that. I think the gun control issue is probably where it would happen, because if legislation or if something is introduced, maybe like what they did in Australia, have a mandatory buyback program or something like that. Yeah. You know, I mean, I don't think it's going to be as cartoonish as, you know, like the government is literally going to send people to your house, but they could. I mean, that could happen. The problem is right now, the reason why that won't happen right now is because there are way too many people with guns. I mean, the American people, even if it's only half that are in support of the Second Amendment.
Well, half the other people have guns.
They would just there's no contest. And that's what the Second Amendment was for. That if that scenario ever played out, that the people would be armed and be able to protect themselves from a tyrannical government. Yeah,
they had that in writing. Like, okay, you know, this is what happened in England to us, and we didn't have any way to defend ourselves. So just in case the government gets a little crazy,
which could happen,
have some guns and, you know, make sure to keep it in check.
Yeah, so I'm definitely for smaller government. There's a lot of things, and I mean that there's a lot of benefit to that we don't have time to get into because we are unfortunately out of time. But yeah, so now of course, you know, I wanna end by saying, violence isn't the way to solve any of this stuff.
No, it's not. But I do want to touch on one more thing before you close out there. Okay. Again, with the guns, if they're going to take away our guns, we're going to find something else to defend ourselves with.
Right.
You know, if somebody's going to like straight out like attack us, you know, we're going to find something else.
That's what happens in other countries.
I saw somebody post, well, you know, there's more car accidents a year than there are shootings, so maybe we should ban cars.
No, cars aren't a human right that's given to us by the Constitution.
Exactly.
That's totally different.
And I was like, okay, I get where you're coming from. I understand that you're trying to be snarky. Good point.
Not really. No, I know, but you know, that's good too. It's violence isn't the way. It's about being able to have a good conversation, but sometimes you'll run into somebody who they just won't agree with you on anything.
Right, yep.
And then what do you do with that? So I think if that is allowed to continue, you know, at some point, you know, I don't think anytime soon, but at some point that could lead to another civil war. Well, we are all out of time. You know, the main point behind all this is that there's a spiritual component. There's literal spiritual entities that are pulling the strings. So as the church, we should all come together under the authority of Jesus Christ. Who cares about our differences of theology, or, you know, if Jesus is your Lord and Savior, then we should be all coming together against this stuff, using the authority in His name to stop the enemy in their tracks. I think that is more effective than arguing, certainly more effective than physical violence, because again, even the people we disagree with, even our enemies, we're told in the Bible that we're supposed to love our enemies. We need to realize they're prisoners of war. Most of them don't even know that they're in one, but they're prisoners of a spiritual war, and we need to be there to help them, witness to them, get them saved, and then we have more people on our side. All that being said, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Into the Multiverse. Until next time, take care and God bless.